So welcome everybody to this week's Beyond the Cloud. And we've got a whole slew of co-hosts today, so 5 of co-hosts. So let's go through, we'll just introduce myself and then everybody else can introduce themselves and maybe just say the most interesting place that they've ever worked, like done bookkeeping work at, which of course, because working in the cloud lets us work in really neat places. So for those of you who don't know me, I am Tanya Hiltz, founder of Cloud Bookkeeping Services and Tanya's Bookkeepers Bootcamp. And the most interesting place that I have ever worked is on a Lido deck of a cruise ship. That was my give and take for taking a vacation. So I didn't work too much.
I cannot beat that.
All right, so who's next?
So my name's Andrea. I live in Campbell River on Vancouver Island in BC. I own Eagle Eye Business Services. Interesting place. I don't like to work on vacation, but we have to sometimes, and checking in is okay. So probably the funnest and the latest was at the Bellagio pool.
In Vegas, right after Salt Lake City. Awesome. Awesome. Perfect. And yeah, it does suck to work on vacation, but sometimes that's like the give and take we have to do, right?
Exactly.
Awesome. Okay, who would like to go next? Suzanne, you're next on my picture.
Oh, I'm next. Okay, so not that I wasn't hearing, but I think that the question is about where have you worked on away from the office, the most interesting.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so Puerto Vallarta, in the lobby there, trying to get someone their payroll remittance to them that they lost while having a nice
not
drink.
too many drinks that you mess up their payroll.
Yeah. Yes.
Nice.
That's most interesting.
Awesome.
And sorry, this is Real Balance Accounting. I'm in Richmond, BC, on the Pacific Coast, not too far from you, Andrea.
Yeah, awesome.
And yeah.
Perfect. All right. Afsana, you're next in my picture, people.
Okay. Hi, I'm Afsana Borzi from Next Gen Business Solution, and I can't beat any of the things that you said. So my place has been not very interesting. It's just offices, and the only place that I could say was fun and nice was last year when I was on vacation in a cottage, so I had to do the payroll, so I did it with my Lakeview, and I was processing payroll. So.
Very nice. I think we're all dedicated. I'm starting to see a real trend here that, we're probably the only people that take a vacation and still actually have to work while we're on vacation. Right?
Isn't it why we go on the cloud so we don't have to be chained to our office and desk?
Exactly, because now we can take vacation instead of going vacation. What's that? So Jessica, you're next on my picture of people.
Hi, I am Jessica. Facebook, I am known as Bandora from Florida Virtual Bookkeeper in sunny Florida. And the most interesting place, I did not plan on this. I'm usually very good about not working on vacation, but I was in a Disney ride. The ride broke down and I was just stuck. I had to wait for them to fix it. So I figured, why not? Let me log on. So I actually got to do a couple of things while waiting for rescue.
Wow.
Okay, you know what? I don't think anybody will ever be able to be winner. Wow. Okay. Leanna, you're next.
Okay.
Of course, you don't have to, of course.
No, that's fine.
Joins us on Zoom. I never want to pick. If you don't have to, you just, yeah.
It was quite interesting, actually. I was in Maui, and a couple of things actually was quite fun, actually. Melanie and I worked on Square and Zapier integration. We came up with a couple Zaps. Actually, it was about 4 Zaps. And it worked out really well for a few weeks. And I also got a phone call from CRA, and I had to work on a tax GST audit. Yeah.
Again, from such a horrible location like Maui, right?
Yeah. And also I'm Rain City Accounting.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That
So,
was fun though, the working on the integration with it was working and then it stopped.
oh.
Yeah.
I haven't played with Zap yet, but that's on my to-do list.
Yeah.
Playing with it for sure. For sure. All right. Deb, I'm not sure if you can join us by audio or if you just want to type in or.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with my web camera. It has just decided it is not going to function. So I've got to bite the bullet and get a new one. But in the meantime, at least as long as audio works, I guess we're good. But I don't have any great stories like you guys got. There's nothing. I never leave home. That's where I work in my office. I do have 2 clients that I actually visit, but they're, within an hour and a half's drive. So the only exciting thing that I have is I have to battle rattlesnakes to get out my front door.
Oh, wow.
So that's kind of the only thing that, aggravates me more than anything is the rattlesnake issue. So
Yeah. So whereabouts do you live? Are you like?
I'm in
obviously-
Colorado. I'm east of the Springs. I have clients, of course, all over the United States. I have cannabis clients because, of course, I'm in Colorado. So mile high, as the saying goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people here are. So, but yeah, we have, I don't know what's going on, but our weather has changed dramatically in the last 5 years. We have way more wind than Wyoming, which is unheard of.
Wow.
The rattlesnake population has increased tenfold.
And I would not have thought, I mean, I don't know all that much about, Colorado in general as compared to, I know some of them, like everybody knows that, alligators are Florida, but I wouldn't have thought the rattlesnakes. When I think of rattlesnakes, I think more desert. When I think of Colorado, I think like more skiing still. And
well, and see, those are the western mountains, and I'm out on the eastern plains, so I get the wind. I was the front row seat for the March cyclone bomb that hit, and we had 100-mile-an-hour winds. And I actually lost my windmill. It was 120 years old, and it took it right to the ground.
Wow.
Wow.
So that was
saying that last time too.
Yeah, that happened. And so far we keep having storms and we're tornadoes, and this is just unheard of for here. And we've had so many tornadoes in the last 2 years that we can rival Oklahoma.
And again, tornadoes. You're right. I think Oklahoma and Kansas.
Yeah. Well, now it's Colorado.
Wow.
And we're getting hit right and left. They had a tornado touchdown yesterday, and it's a daily event. Yeah, anymore. And so it's like, I don't know what's happened. Something has really happened with the weather, and our globe has turned.
Yes.
And for us, not in a good way. So,
well, just
and then of course it's the season for the Tarantula March.
Oh.
Here. And that's a little further south, so thank goodness I have not had to deal with that, but I don't know which is worse.
Okay, so Deb,
that's a toss-up.
As much as I love you, I'll never come and visit you. I'm sorry.
Okay, fair enough.
I have arachnophobia, and I am terrified of snakes too. So
yeah,
it's called that. So you've got
rattlesnakes are not friendly. Bull snakes, we have hognose. Those, they're good snakes because they eat all the rodents and bugs. And we have kangaroo rats. That's an interesting thing to see. A rat in a kangaroo body.
Really?
So yeah, it's
How big are they?
Oh, they stand about 6 inches tall.
Wow.
Yeah, and they'll charge you. They got a big long rat tail, and they charge you. Yeah, but they only come out. They're nocturnal, so they only come out at night. But if you're out with a flashlight, they'll charge you as you're walking through.
You are living in a wilderness.
Yeah. So the snakes are good for those things, but the rattlesnakes, I've opened my front door and I have had to battle them with who keeps a shovel by their front door? Well, I have to keep a shovel so you can take the shovel and move them to the side to get out your front door to leave. So
You must really love the good things of Colorado to be able to put up with.
Yeah, I went out and bought 320 acres. So, you know,
Okay.
I don't have any neighbors. There is nobody out here but me. So that's a perk to that. But I'm
Huge
finding that the rattlesnakes are a little annoying.
Wow, that's crazy.
So anyway, I'd rather hear your guys' story than mine. So you guys keep going, and yeah, I don't have anything else to top your guys' stories with.
Well, that's okay. You're the last one, and I think
Oh, okay. Fair
working,
enough.
you know, working with, you know, rattlesnakes and tarantulas around you, I think that tops, you know, that comes pretty close. I don't quite know if it tops Jessica's being stuck on, you know, stuck on a rock.
I would take Jessica's story any day.
I would too.
I'll trade you any day, Jessica. You want to trade that? Absolutely.
No thanks on the rattlesnakes.
Oh,
Right now,
okay.
there's a regular garden snake stuck in my screen room, and even though it's harmless, I still don't want to go out there.
Yeah,
I'm with
those are
you.
harmless, and they're great. They're great for eating bugs. They love
That's why I
bugs.
usually let them be, but I don't know why I wanted to come into the screen room. I usually just let them roam in the backyard.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's as far as I go with snakes.
Yeah, and as long as they stay out, but when they're trying to get in my front door, that's where I draw the line. I pull the plug of head separation when that happens. I just
I don't
can't.
want that as a roommate.
Yeah, and we got some big ones. They're 5-footers.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Gardeners or snakes are a little bit smaller, but the rattlers, they're 5-footers and nasty. Very aggressive. But anyway, let's talk about something more fun.
All right. All right.
I don't know. Whatever your topics are, let's find something else.
Well, Leanna, just as we were getting started, actually had a question that I'm like, I couldn't answer, but I'm like, let's save that for question time.
Okay. It was just hopefully a simple, quick question. I just noticed yesterday that when I was downloading a PDF file from either a Google Drive or an email, it was opening up the Adobe instead of going down to the bottom of my screen. How do I just stop that from opening up? It
And
must
I-
be in my settings, right?
I don't know. It's just recently started doing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
It
not-
never did.
Too.
It never did that before, but it does download. But it likes you to look at the picture too.
See, and that's, I know I still go, mine goes to the bottom of the screen. I mean, I just downloaded some today.
Oh.
It acts normally. And that's, I kind of thought that maybe it had to either do with the settings or maybe a recent update. So I don't know if anybody else has.
I think it's an update.
What browser
know.
are you using?
I know. I really don't want to see it, but I figured out it did download, so I just get out of there and go to the next.
Yeah, 'cause
Sometimes when you update, like when they update, they reset your setting back to like default. So maybe check your setting to see like, because it should say like open after download. So maybe you want to get rid of that check mark.
Well, I'm looking right now in Chrome, just for example. I'm just trying to get into the.
it's even in my emails.
Oh,
Like when I have an email for a PDF, I'm opening it and it's opening up the Adobe. So
Yeah, because you just want to download it, right? Click for download, but
Yeah.
it's doing the same to me. So if there's a fix, that would be great.
excellent.
I'm Googling to try to see if we can find a fix while you guys are talking then.
Thank you.
I thought it was just me.
Did you
Nope.
recently install an update to Adobe?
I closed off my computer.
I don't remember doing anything different.
Because I notice whenever I don't use Adobe for PDF, but I use other programs from that company, and whenever it updates, it wants me to set it as the default. And if you set it as the default, then it likes to do its own thing. So I don't know that that's the case, but it's something I would look at.
Yeah, I didn't touch anything. Did you, Leanna?
I just
They might do it on their own though. They might do it on their own when they update.
Yeah.
Yes, Adobe likes to think it knows what you want without asking you. It's
Okay.
one of the reasons why I don't use it for PDF.
Yep.
What do you use then?
What do you use?
Oh, what is it called? Let's see. I think it's called Architect. Let me pull it up. Yeah, PDF Architect.
Hmm.
Okay, yeah, and I'm just the Adobe. So what I see here, and I don't know if maybe this would adjust both of the settings, Leanna, but I've just found how to open a PDF in browser instead of download, which we would just flip the opposite. So on your computer, if you open Chrome, again, I don't know, maybe it would change the default. Who knows? It's worth a try. So at the top right, click More Settings. At the bottom, click Show Advanced Settings. Under Privacy, click Context Settings. And then under PDF Documents, there should be a check a box next to either Open Files or, let's see. Yeah, so you would just have that unchecked, which is Open Files in the default PDF browser.
Okay.
Now, there's also, as I was saying that, I do recall that we had issues with Microsoft Edge, or sorry, not with Edge, with our new Windows 10 taking over and using the Microsoft default. And there was a place in Windows that I remember I had to go and I could change some settings in there. Let me just see if I can find that. Settings and apps. So in Windows, so again, we've got Windows 10, settings and apps, and it's still just opening. Yeah, and then nope, manage optional features. I don't want optional features. Yeah, so then under the apps, you find your Adobe. And no, that's just to set as the default. So I don't know. Okay, so we've got Edward has joined us on the Facebook Live, and he's typing in that saying, yes, that's normal. And to download without opening, click right on the attachment and say save attachment.
I don't want that.
Yeah, no, but I know what she's saying, Edward, is just because the same things. If we open, like if we double click on it, it just downloads right into our kind of browser window, and then you click there to open.
Yeah, I just want to grab it and put it into Recipic.
I went into Chrome and went into settings and went to downloads, and it does have down here restore settings to original defaults, but I'm afraid to click on that.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, you don't want to open a bigger can of worms, right? Or a can of rattlesnakes.
Yeah, I wouldn't advise that.
Exactly.
Some days, let me tell you. Whew.
Oh, yeah. So I don't know. Maybe just try to change that. See what happens with that. I don't know. Nobody else seems to be typing an answer, so I think it's got everybody stumped. So yeah, I just say just try that. Excuse me. See what happens. Report back.
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
Okay. What's the other one is, why does my computer keep on turning off when I have you on the phone?
Because it's haunted.
I like that.
It doesn't. Because we generally Friday evenings we talk. So probably at around 4 or 5 o'clock our time, which is Eastern. So that's what 3.
2:30, 3.
2:30, yeah, and around there as we're talking, it just seems to just stop. It just stop, disconnect. She's got to do a restart, come back and join me, and it's the weirdest thing.
I said enough. That's enough. I had it.
I think so. It's like, yeah, you guys need to actually get some work done. Get off. Even though we are working half the time. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we collaborate quite frequently on things.
Yeah, I changed computers.
Oh, did you change, or that's still coming?
No, when we were on our call, I changed computers lately.
Yeah.
I said, forget this computer.
Yes. Oh my goodness. All right. So I don't know if we can actually answer that one for you yet. And definitely can't answer your computer one other than, let's just get a new computer, or your computer just doesn't like me.
Or throw it out the window, right?
There you go.
Yes. So does anybody else have some burning questions that they would like to see if we have an answer to?
And I know that you put something up about the updates in QBO.
Yep.
Is there a short version?
Into it.
Just a kind of review.
I just grabbed that. Let me find it. I grabbed that from the Firm of the Future because I'm trying to do something daily on the Facebook or group, the Bookkeepers Corner Facebook group, and I'm trying to put in things that are going to be valuable, different things. Again, sometimes it might be, hey, what's your favorite this, or sometimes it's a saying, and sometimes it's an article that I think is important or something that needs sharing. And that's where I grabbed that from. So that was the already condensed version of some of the recent changes.
Anything that you're excited about?
Yeah, exactly. I tried to put something on there, exactly, because I was playing with that app the other day, and I like that app. Leanne and I've been talking about it too. It's Business Importer. And somebody just today, actually, I think it's Paul Burns, that him and I were chatting back and forth about it and different things it does. It actually also does. So it's basically like, for anybody new in there who doesn't know what it is, it's basically like an Excel transaction pro, the transaction importer, Cesant. It's something like that, but it does some really, really neat things. So it memorizes your mapping so that you can just, label it, which is great. And because it labels it and memorizes it, I know Afsana was really interested about this when she saw that. You can actually, instead of using just Excel, you can actually just have a Google Drive set up, get all the mapping set up, have your clients upload into there or copy and paste into the Google Drive. So what I've been working with is with Shirley Mathers, her and I last week, I figured out that if we do a second sheet, so the first sheet where the clients can upload into, the second sheet has our mapping. So for the clients, we of course title all of the rows and the columns, but then we do our mapping so that way they can just copy and paste from their recordings. The mapping sheet is the one that we're going to tell it to remember and to upload, and you can schedule it. So you can say, run this every day, run it every week, run it every something, which is pretty cool.
I really like that app, but that feature of it is
it's really cool. And then you get sent an email with it saying an upload's just been done, so that you can then pop into the original source document. And if you've got everything set up on your mapping, you can actually, have it run to say, was there a difference between, what was on the first sheet and what was uploaded, type of thing. So you can take a really quick peek and see, because sometimes if you've got like sales tax inclusive, for example, it might be by a penny or two on the rounding if you've got to do some adjustments on your mapping sheet, which we had to in one case. So we set that row up. So every time I receive an email, I just take a quick look across the highlighted up top, see if there's any differences, and if I have to go in and just make an adjustment, that was really cool.
It's getting smarter, right?
It is. And what Paul said that he loves about it is that he's got documents that he can use it, have the document sitting in Google Drive or Dropbox, have the shareable link to that document, have a field in the the Excel or the Google sheet to where that document is stored, and then the link will upload with it. So now that link will be there as well. So I can't see us using it for that because, of course, we have Receipt Bank for most of those, but for sales is basically what I'd be using. So so I don't think that we necessarily need the original document loaded in there, but it'll definitely go ahead and put a link to the original your source document if you want, which was really cool. So it sounds like he's been playing around a little longer than I've been playing around on it. So that's definitely something worth looking into.
That's cool.
Yeah, very cool. They also have another app called Flowless, which I have not yet played with, but I know Paul's played with it and he loves it. And that is, trying to minimize the noise in the background behind us. We're actually changing the office around. So this is green screen. What you can't see behind there is we're completely redoing that half of the office. So Flowless will take, if you've got like Square or Stripe, it's kind of like Zapier. So it's got if-then rules. So you can say, if if this payment comes into QBO, then split out the Square fee. So you can have it come into a clearing account and then automatically split the fee. So it's good for PayPal and whatnot, so that you don't actually have to sit there and reconcile that account and manually take out.
Flawless?
Flowless, Flowless. Yeah, so that's really neat. And there's a third app that they have that I can't even remember the name of it right now, and I haven't used yet. I'm just playing one at a time. But of course, the business importer, where I like that is we want to start using Shadow for all of our clients. And so what this is going to do is it's going to have our clean data instead of doing those ones where we just kind of did like a monthly sales summary transaction entry. We'll be able to pull them in daily without it's actually going to take us less time. If we have this set up automatic, and especially with the clients uploading, it will take us less time to do that than it would to, fill in the blanks on a recurring transaction.
But this is before you send it to QBO, right? So it just gets
Yeah.
Then you go and make sure, so that part is not automated, right? You just have to go and take a look before you send it over?
Excuse me, no. If you already know you've got everything set up,
yeah,
according to the way the client's pulling the report,
yeah,
then no. All I would do is once I get the email that is automatically uploaded, I would then just go in and check my highlighted columns,
right,
sure that it matches the first page of what the client uploaded.
And then you send it.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
And then when you get the email, well, no, it sends automatically.
Oh,
it does it automatically. So you don't
wow.
do anything. And then when you get the email, it'll tell you if there's anything that erred. And
then you go into QView and correct those minor things, right?
Yeah, if I've got to go in and do just a quick journal entry adjustment or, something for, again, the sales tax rounding or something.
Okay.
Yeah, but very, very cool. Very cool. So yes, I'm playing with that now. And then I'm going to start playing with auto entry a little bit too. So
Are you going to do a kind of like a little webinar on that?
Absolutely. Yeah. Once we get it going, yeah, they're working with Richard Ropa Roberts. I wanted to make sure I got all his names in the right row. So yeah, they're working with him right now as well too. So hopefully right now my focus is obviously on the financial advisory series, but when that's done, or if I can fit something in between, absolutely. I mean, anything that I love and that I use and that I think we should at least learn about, I'm all for doing the webinars for those. Absolutely. And especially all I have to do is introduce them and they can talk about them, and then I can, kind of help show how it's actually, like how we actually use it, because I know sometimes if they're not doing the same thing that we do, they'll come on and they'll talk, but it's like, okay, but you said that, but that's not how we actually use it. So it's hard to relate to. So yeah, but I need to get playing a little bit more first. So we only started playing last week, but I really like what I saw so far.
Okay, I have something that is burning, like I need to get it out of my chest.
Okay.
I got, which I already emailed you about.
Oh,
I got
yes.
this email from Pluto. Has anyone else got that email that says new changes coming? So now they have like partner program and so on. In that email, as you saw it, Tanya, they have like training. They have link for training, but I'm not sure if the training is for like accountant and bookkeeping. It could be just general overview of how it's going to work. So anyone has any thoughts on that? Like the price is like $25 for 10 transactions, which is $2.50. After that, it's going to go down to 50 cents, I guess, per transaction. But it's I have to see more detail on that to see if I like it more or less. But they do have some improvements. Like they said, they a number of days that takes for the money to get to you is reduced, that kind of thing. So anyone else have received it? What do you think about it?
Well, I read the email and it does say in there for your clients, it's being, so that to me tells me that that was the email that was generated to the bookkeepers and accountants because of the way that they've got the wording in there. I also
Yes.
know that Paul Burns actually put something in one of the other sites today. I think it was in the QBHQ or something about that with the link to it to find out more about it.
Yeah. I signed up for it, so I'm going to find out more. Because this was something that we were asking for a very long time. Like, we need to include it in our value pricing as a package. So I
Right.
guess that's what they did. But I need to know more about it.
Yeah, see, and I'm not a big Pluto user, so yeah, I can't speak much for that. I just know that there have been some changes.
Anybody else?
I've received the email too, but I don't use them.
What are people using besides Pluto?
Rotessa.
Yes, so yeah, we use Vortessa for our clients to pull for our PAD agreements, which is available only in Canada.
And WayPay.
WayPay for the payables, and then we're going to be using Veeam for
International.
international, but I will say that Veeam is coming. There is no date as to when they are going to be coming domestic to domestic within Canada, but I can tell you that I have been promised that I get to do the webinar when they've got the announcement date. We get to roll out, and it will be seen here first, whether it be a Beyond the Cloud at this time or whether it be a special one. But I get to introduce it to the world, which is pretty darn awesome. But I love them. I absolutely love them. But they will be Canada to Canada. So I don't know how they're going to look from the payables. So WayPay, I might end up changing a little bit more over. Like, I don't really know. But yeah, so that's what we use.
Nobody else uses.
Are you guys loving WayPay, the ones that are using it?
I like it better than Pluto.
How?
Well, WayPay pays the WSIB. I don't know if Pluto does at this point now, but when I changed to WayPay, WayPay was cheaper. And Pluto did turn around and drop their prices afterwards after WayPay came out at a cheaper rate. Pluto did respond and dropped. But WayPay has the WSIB, which Pluto did not. And WayPay just was a little bit easier to set up. And again, their CRA payments were a little bit lower and just a little bit kind of an easier of a process. I like the way that I get a real nice email with the confirmation right after it's been done. I don't have to grab screenshots like I do on Pluto to be able to get the confirmation number. All that is emailed. And then WayPay does another email as it's actually, once it's actually paid. It says here it's processing, here it's processed, now it's been paid. So I like the fact that it does that. So when I use that for clients, I get those emails so I know.
Pluto does all that. Pluto sends tons of email. It's gone. It's picked up. It's dropped off. All that. So
See, for CRA payments, they don't, because I use them for one client for CRA payments up until last month. We just set this client up on WayPay.
oh no, not for CRA.
Yeah, so even the CRA and that's what I use it for mainly. We don't do normal payables for our clients, just the CRA payables.
Isn't
What do
anybody
they use for payables then? What do they use for payables if they don't use Pluto?
Oh, they're paying their own.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, they don't want to pay us to handle that.
I see.
But doesn't anybody else here use Veeam?
I use Veeam, or well, some of my clients do.
Yeah, I use Veeam too. So you guys don't have Veeam in Canada?
We do for international, but not domestic. So if we want to go to Canada, we can't. You guys are so lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like it's yeah. There's a few times where I'm like, darn it, I wish I was American, and that's one of them because yeah, I've been using Veeam for years and I love them, but again, it's only the cross border. It's been about 2 years.
Okay. Yeah.
Bill.com seemed to be a big one down in the US too that we don't have here.
Yeah, Bill.com is equivalent to our Pluto or WayPay up here.
So Veeam is for payables or payables and receivables?
Both.
Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they use Veeam is cheaper because it uses blockchain technology.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it goes through quicker, almost like an e-transfer. Yeah, it's not as fast as an e-transfer, which is instantaneous, like, or an ACH transfer, as you guys in the States would know it as. But it does go through, I think it's a 2-day turnaround time, even international, which is, very fast.
Well, Pluto takes a long time, which people are not happy with it. Like, they get the email saying, like, in 5 days, they give a date, but it's like usually 4 or 5 days after that, which is like, it just. Not good.
That is the same as WayPay, and the reason being for that is I did find out because I was working closely with Sean from Invoice Sherpa before he sold it when he was still the sole owner of it, and he was trying to do this in Canada. And so, I was trying to help him out with that, and he was explaining that actually has to do with the Canadian Payment Association to be able to track the money going to make sure that it's not fraudulent money or money laundering or coming in, for terrorism or anything like that. There are legal rules up in Canada that have to be abided, which is why that takes so longer. But an e-transfer is direct from my bank to your bank, which is how that can go quickly. Because you're using a third party, that's where the difference is.
They have to go there and then come back.
Right. Now, Veeam uses slightly different technology, which goes more direct, which is how it can go quicker because it goes through the different technology. So now it'll be interesting to see when it comes up here if it does go through quicker or if the Canadian Payment Association still has the same.
Oh, okay.
So Devin and Jessica, when you guys use Veeam for domestic, what's the turnaround time for domestic payments, sending Veeam in the States?
I have found the first payment takes the longest, but follow-up payments, it depends on the recipient. I usually see 2 to 3 days.
Okay.
Mine's
That's pretty
24
good.
hours.
That's pretty good. Wow.
Yeah.
That's very good.
And it's 50 cents a transaction, unlimited amount. Yeah.
That's very good.
Veeam is going to put Pluto and WayPay, turn them upside down on their butt when Veeam launches here.
Do you have any idea on a timeline, Tanya?
No, they didn't promise me. I know they were originally hoping for first quarter, but then things glitched. I'm going to there'll be an IPBC. So if I don't hear from Patrick, then because they're actually their main office is California, but their head office is actually Ottawa. So that's where IPBC. So it's up here in Canada.
Who's going to IPBC? Yeah, no.
Santa, you're not going?
I don't know. I'm expecting a guest house in September, so it depends on what they're gonna be doing. So
right. I was gonna say everybody else you'd have to fly to. Jessica, we tried to talk her into and apply some pressure last year. So
you're not the only one. I seem to network with more Canadian bookkeepers lately than American, and everybody's ganging up on me to go.
Deb, you ever want to break?
It's a good place to go, Jessica.
I hear amazing things, and if it was just me, I would totally do it, but the logistics with my family is just not feasible.
Absolutely.
No, it's for me, it would have worked out so well, but I can't make that decision till they come and see what they're doing,
Of course. No, absolutely. I would say, no, Andrew, Suzanne, and Leanna, that's all too far for you guys.
I'm going.
Yeah, I did go to the one in Vancouver. Oh, you're going, Andrea?
I am, yeah.
Are you going, Suzanne?
No.
I'm going to see you like so many times this year then, Andrea, because we'll be at San Jose and
I hope so.
And this year IPBC is going to be interesting because with all the changes that they're going through. So
yeah, with John gone.
Well, and the name changed. Did you guys see that email?
I saw the logo stuff changing.
Yeah, they'll be changing the branding, so they'll still legally be the Institute of Professional Bookkeepers of Canada, but the branding is going to be, Certified Professional Bookkeepers of Canada, so CPB.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the voting, did you guys vote?
Of course.
I canceled my membership, so I can't
Oh,
vote.
you did?
No.
How so?
I'm happy to see your face on there, Tanya.
I know.
Well, when I thought about it, and Tamitha reached out and asked me, so they need some new people. I'm sure I know she reached out to several others, and I sat there, and it's funny, I had submitted, and then I kind of afterwards, I'm like, oh, but we've got so many things that we're changing here. So for Devin and Jessica, there's actually they're putting 4 new positions on the board, and so that's what this is about. So I did apply for membership to the board of directors, and then I turned around and I almost pulled it back out, and I thought, oh my gosh, I've got so much. Can I really give the commitment? I want to, but can I really do it? And then I was talking with Diane Mueller, and I just ended up saying to her, I said, you know what? I'll just leave it in. I will let it be, and fate will decide. If I was meant to be, if it was meant to be, it'll be.
You know, I had a very, very, mixed feelings about that. Like, I thought, should I vote for Tanya? Because if she wins, we're going to have less of her here. Right? And if she wins, but then it's a good place. So I'd like her to be there for us. And so it was just like, I don't know, but I voted anyways.
Well, it's important to vote, and it doesn't matter who you vote for. There's 4 positions open. As long as you vote for the person you think is
I voted.
best in there, nothing is going to change. We're still going to have everything. It's funny. I did say to Sandra, she's like, "Should I vote for you?" And I said, "You know what?" I said, "Vote for who you want. This is the one time where I'm not going to campaign to vote. Whatever will be, will be." That said, I said, if you vote for me, I said, then that means there might be less time for me in the office for you.
Yeah, and for us. So I just want to say it now. If you get in there, I want you to commit like still the same number of hours to.
Nothing will change. That'll just be added into the mix of things. Yeah, nothing will change for boot camp. Nothing will.
Well, I know that you already have like more than 24 hours, so I don't know where you get it from, but you have it. So
I'm exhausted. I get exhausted, but I get bored. And that's the problem. I get bored and I'm like, oh, let's do something different. Let's do something different. And, when the IPBC, it just kind of seemed, it had been something that I had been thinking about for the board of directors to try to, give back. And, I hear a lot, people talk to me a lot, and I hear a lot about their feelings. And I would love to be able to be in a position to do something and help speak for those people. Right. So again, we'll see. I'm not campaigning to vote. It's important to vote. I'm not saying who I voted for, but actually I haven't voted yet, but I know I'm going to vote. But it's really important just to vote for people that you think would speak for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's interesting on that. Yes.
I have a question.
Okay, what is your question?
Okay, so I have someone who approached me to go and help them with their business. They're running a restaurant. They have a bookkeeper, but they're not quite happy with it. And I don't have any experience with restaurants. Anyone here has any experience with restaurant that can give me a hint? Or just, say like, what question should I ask? Or what am I looking into? What am I getting myself into?
Lots of transactions.
A lot.
Yes.
We did one, but I thought Andrea had some restaurants.
Oh yeah, how is it? How is it, Andrea?
Well, we do some shortcutting because they can get a lot of information from their POS system. So basically, we take a monthly report.
Okay.
Reconcile it into like a cash clearing account, so all the deposits. It's balanced daily there, and then we balance it monthly with any payouts. So that's kind of streamlined that process, and then I actually auto add all the deposits through the bank feed into that clearing account, and then the one summary entry. So now that we've kind of got a system, it's not too bad. There's lots of purchases, so there's lots of transactions on both revenue and purchases. But if you've got some systems and have somebody great that's providing the information, pretty smooth. The ones that we find are most successful are owner-operators are day-to-day and running it. Those ones seem to be pretty seamless because they're there and they care.
They're hands-on.
Yeah.
What about do they have any? Sorry. Do they
I've
have
got a couple of things. Oh, sorry.
Inventory? Sorry, Susan.
There's a delay, right? So.
Yes, there's a delay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Sana, there's something else that you really should be cautious about is cash. Lots of you know, them running in and paying cash for stuff and
Or
trying
tips and
to,
stuff like that, yeah.
the undeposited funds is really important, making sure that they put the cash in the bank. Also with employees, making sure they're on payroll, not being paid cash and then figuring its expense down the road.
Yep.
And plus the tips. Really important is the tips. You
How do
know,
you treat tips?
there's a few different ways you can do tips. You know, putting them on the pay.
A pool?
They have to do the deductions, EI and CPP, or they get paid out cash each day, and it's then the employee's responsibility for
That's
claiming
the
it.
best way.
Yeah,
That's what we do.
that's what I have them do. You know, they just pay them out.
So they don't add it to the bill, right?
To the
No,
pay.
it's added to the bill, but not to the pay, not to the employee's pay. So, so what she's saying is you can add it to their paycheck, so they get paid out on their paycheck. So the restaurant holds it until they pay them, and then pay them out of their checks. But that's way too complex
Right.
for us
Okay.
to get into dealing with stuff. Or that, excuse me, every night when the cash register closes it, or when the restaurant closes their till, they separate the tips, take the cash, and pay them at their tips, because then it's up to them to report on their own taxes.
Oh, okay.
It's
Okay.
not that extra responsibility on us. And Andrea agrees. I see her nodding.
Yeah, and if they don't have enough cash, they usually e-transfer, but I just get them to do it right away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully that's okay, but that's the workaround that I do.
Yeah.
Okay.
We
What about
suggest
for
the
liquor
cash.
and stuff like that? Do they keep an inventory on that?
Mhm.
They do, huh?
Yeah.
What else do they keep an inventory on?
Everything.
So basically at year end, we just have them do kind of a count for as far as food goes, and
Really?
but internal control, they'll definitely want to inventory their liquor regularly.
Inventory of everything, like every food that everything that they purchase,
Just
or
once per year, just a basic. I have
I
20
have a
menus and-
company that's a catering company, and they actually use a app called Party Planner,
okay.
and it does all of their inventory, their employees, scheduling out their employees. It's pretty cool.
And you can attach it to.
I get all of the reports monthly, and then I can see their inventory, cost of goods, their liquor sales, that kind of stuff. And then I pull that report and do my calculations that way.
Okay, so it doesn't direct integration with QBO or anything.
No, because I'm still trying to figure out their Square.
Okay.
I don't want any more jumbo.
Square.
Square has difficulty because they might be using it. I don't know.
Well, we talked about that last time.
Yeah. Square's
Yeah.
duplicating. Square does a lot of duplication.
Okay.
I don't
you
know.
gotta make sure your settings are right for taxes in Square, especially where we are in BC, got liquor tax.
Yeah.
GST.
So maybe we shouldn't connect Square to it, then just do a manual.
That's why we do a summary.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and plus for the inventory on liquor, you want to make sure that nobody's stealing any.
Yeah.
That's right.
Don't put the lines on the bottles. It doesn't work.
Add a little bit of water, right?
And another one for catering is caterees, and they claim that they sync with QuickBooks, but they don't.
Oh.
Just as a side note.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know one of our restaurant that we had, and actually now I should say that we have a Boston Pizza as well too, but we had a food court restaurant, and they actually used Touch Bistro. So Touch Bistro, again, it didn't connect with QBO, but it had all the inventory controls, had everything in there. We grabbed the reports.
Sherry Lee's awesome at that one, apparently. She knows that one inside and out.
She's definitely liking that one so far.
Who's that?
Sherry Lee.
Shirley Mathers, yeah.
Shirley knows a lot about a lot of things.
She spends the time to get to know it and to see if that'll be right for her client. I mean, honestly, if I had a business, like it's her or somebody like hers who I'm on my side. And I know that's sad to say, any of my clients out here watching, but it's I don't like sometimes too many integrations are not, sometimes it's app overload. right?
Yeah.
But she gets
Yeah.
into more complex, so we won't
Yeah.
deal with any of those complex issues. I'd happily refer them off to somebody who niches in those scenarios. Whereas, she loves the more
Breweries.
complex, the breweries, the way that everything interweaves through there, and yeah. And she's not even joined us on Facebook today. She had an appointment today, so she doesn't know we're talking about her yet.
Oh, her ears must be burning.
Oh, they will. I'm sure I'll be talking. I'll be talking to her at some point this weekend, if not tonight. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, we have conversations because I do summarize in shortcut quite a bit, but she's really trying to figure out those integrations and then being able to bring in the cash flow tools too, because the way I do it, you're not going to get the trends that bringing the data in can achieve. So there's definitely benefit to figuring it out and having it go that way. And then there's a cost benefit in my position where that data they can get elsewhere. So we're just weighing. You have to look at it to really see what the customer's after, I think. And if cash flow is something that's important, a monthly summary might not be the best option. And you might want to look then at having those integrations working correctly.
Well, and you know what? She's the one who convinced me to go from my monthly summary to at least a detailed one. So again, I don't, some of the stuff constantly integrating, which is kind of why I like the business importer. It's kind of the nice mix in between. But again, to get that clean data to be able to utilize Chata to the best of its ability.
Yeah.
So she's very convincing.
Yep. But go back to your customer needs. What are they looking for? That's what ultimately matters the most.
Absolutely. Yep.
Just have to know what question to ask. Like that's the most important part.
Yeah, at the discovery.
It's the investigation, and you know how remember Tanya with the pricing value? Did I get that right?
Yes, Rondell and Corlick's.
Yeah, how
value,
she said about the interview, and I think I was listening to someone else. Even Jessica, I was listening to your interview about interviewing, right? And not right, fast and oh yeah, I'll do it, but just going away and saying I got to digest and think about this and because you're gonna have more questions.
Yep.
So lots of questions. Yep.
So and my feeling is that that's how we're gonna get quality clients.
Right.
And
true.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Well, that's why this financial webinar series, we know we want to use Chata. We're not quite sold on the other tool we want to use as our main one yet. I want to see all of them. I really like when I saw Cashflow Frog. It reminds me a little bit of Dry Run, a little bit of Cashflow Tool and whatnot. But we've still got a lot of weeks to go for the deep dives. And what we might find is, hey, this one might work best for this type of client. This might work best for this type of client. So, there's still a lot, but we're going to reserve because traditionally we were going to be looking at using Chata and Dry Run. So whether that stays the same, whether that changes, I don't know. Leanne is the one that's going to have most of the say on that because she's the one that's going to be having most of those conversations because, cash flow and forecasting, it's like, well, can you afford to buy it? If not, don't. And forecasting is like a magic 8-ball. My brain just doesn't think that way. It's, is the money going to come in? It says yes. Woohoo! So my brain just doesn't work that way, whereas hers does. So I'm going to be ultimately leaving that decision to her. But we're going to wait until we see everything, till we see all of them, because some of these tools we haven't looked back at in ages.
I think an important point, and I try and think about it when I'm going into discovery sessions as well, is almost approach that business as if you were going in to buy it or it was yours and you were looking at running it, because that will...
Wow, that was great. That was very nice, Andrea. You put it well.
Yeah.
No, it's good because it's your, how I feel when I have a new client or accept a new client is it's my business too.
Yeah.
I go, we're a team here.
Yeah.
I care just as much about your business as you do. So you better, or I don't want to be here.
Yeah. And don't you find that like this approach might be very new concept for clients, and they might be like wondering, like, just bookkeeping, why are you asking this question? Have you ever had that reaction? And if you did,
Well,
what
I don't think I necessarily go in like I'm pretending I own this.
No, no, no.
It's quite a strategic, even in the introduction phase, to just kind of feel them out and see how that would go over. But at the end of the day, I find if that would be weird, they're probably not somebody that maybe even cares enough about their own to want to work with. And as Suzanne said, if they want someone on their team that cares, then they're probably a good fit if that's what's important to you.
Yeah. Well, I know if people just want straight data entry, we won't work with them. That's not what we do. If they want that for now and then eventually want to grow and get into more of the business consulting and say, yes, Tanya, I'd love to grow the business. I can't afford that now. I do value your expertise and I'd love to do that. Then great, we'll grow together. We'll help them grow together.
Right. And in my opinion, we still work from a compliance standpoint as well. Like I don't think compliance work is dead.
No.
There's still a place for it. And to me, you almost have to do that compliance work for a bit before you can then treat it as your own or maybe help grow with them, because you have to know the day-to-day. You have to just do that basic work and that basic data entry, if that's what we're calling it, to then dive deeper. So I think there is a place, especially up front, for compliance, and then working more of a strategic relationship as you go.
Yep, absolutely. But
It's all about the story.
it is.
Right?
And there has been the odd person that has just said, I just want you to enter this stuff. I don't want anything else. And you can tell they're like, I know everything, just enter this. You can kind of tell by the way that they're treating you and talking to you and whatnot. If there's somebody like that, then that's supposed to say, you know what, I'm happy to train somebody in your organization to do this for you, or, that's just not the right fit. But
Yeah,
right.
bye-bye, I'm gone. Yeah.
Compliance work is still really important.
Yeah.
But compliance work, just like Andrew said, compliance work is still really important. And it's still, even though we don't like, to think about it, even on those that we're doing the advisory services, it's still a huge part of our job.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Totally. And how can you
that entry might be dead, but compliance, no.
Yeah. And more of like CFO too, kind of, or lower, like CFO, but not a lot of CFO work, and the fact that we're keeping them on schedule as well too, right? So.
Yeah, they just can't do without us, really.
Right.
I'm
That's
kidding.
right.
I'm just kidding.
No, you're right. You're right, they can't. It's going to be very costly to them.
Yeah, and you know what? You get to know who you when you're talking to them, and if you accept that person who's not the right client for you or the right fit for you, you start to realize that pretty quickly, and then just sit there and say, okay, what was there something in the beginning, kind of like what Ed Cleese calls the after action review. That Ron Baker, I think it was Ron Baker and Ed Cleese call that. And I do that without even knowing what it was officially called, but was there an indicator in the first, few conversations with that person that you could pick up for the next person that you talk to recognize that sooner?
And I think another important point is I definitely have some niches, but until you try different industries, you don't necessarily know if you like it or it's a good fit or not. So I've always kind of dove into different types of industry, and just to see if we like it or not. And if you don't, there's always an exit strategy, but I think you got to try some out just to see what you're good at, what you enjoy.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? It's important. I love what you said, though, about niching in multiple industries, because I am not one person I'm not an advocate for niching. I'm not in the traditional sense where they say, oh, niche in only this or niche in only that, because then you're putting all your eggs in one basket. So if you're going to niche, it's great. Niche in, pick several to niche in. And I love that you said that, because I know so many people that I talk to think that when they're niching, they have to pick one and they can only pick on one. And no.
I agree.
Start with one, learn another, have a multitude, because there's nobody in here in Alberta, but anybody in Alberta will tell you way that Alberta runs is when the oil fields go down, so many other industries fall with it. And that's exactly what happens if you're too much in one industry. When that goes down,
True.
And I would say even further to that, as far as having like specific niche industries, even what overrides that for me now is ideal client.
Yeah.
So irregardless of whether you're in my niche, do you fit the ideal client that I'm looking for versus specific industries? And perhaps an ideal client is something that I've never tried before, but that'll work, versus something that I'm really good at, but you're an ass. So
That's so true. That's
Exactly.
exactly what I was going to
Yes.
say.
Yeah,
And
very
I
true.
do the same. I no longer niche down to just one industry because I saw some colleagues that used to specialize in construction. Then the housing boom in the US happened and they lost all of their clients. All went out of business in less than a year.
yep.
So, like you, Andrea, I don't have a specific type of industry. I have a umbrella section of industry. I like the service side, but that could be so many different things. I am more interested about the type of business and the type of entrepreneur. The business owner is a bigger factor than what the business actually does.
totally.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, exactly. And again, like you, Jessica, we're more service, but again, we've got real estate agents, we've got, cleaning services, we've got, some retail stores. So, we've probably got, like we've got 2 physio clinics. So, again, it's the right client. Do they have the right tools? And basic bookkeeping is the same for each of them. If they're in that business, they know their compliance up front. If they have to report to, for up here, they've got, OHIP reporting and all of the stuff. They know that if they're in the industry. So if you come in just at the basic, and then you can learn. And I mean, we've learned so much about, several of these different industries.
Yeah, and like here in
Yeah,
Colorado, we have cannabis is a big thing,
Yeah,
and it's a whole different ballgame.
it
Oh,
is
so-
hugely regulated.
So
Yeah.
Deb, are you doing any clients for cannabis?
Oh yeah, I've had clients for cannabis and for what 6-7 years now.
Yeah, Colorado
Oh, okay.
ahead of us here.
Yeah, it was medical marijuana before it became legal.
And so that's quite different, right? I
Oh
mean,
yeah, there's nothing like that.
Okay.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So I see people advertising, learn cannabis accounting and things like that. So
Yeah, and they're charging big money for it. And then I get a lot of Facebook people asking me, what's the things you need to look out for, and I'll answer their questions and stuff. But boy, it's something you've got to actually be involved. Walk into a grow, and the smell is overwhelming. You cannot describe this. And what's sad is they're cash driven, most of them. It's starting to change a little bit now, but
yeah.
back, especially when I was doing it, just coming in, they're cash driven. One of my biggest clients had a vault at the bank, and he'd keep $200,000 cash and a money counter. And this is how we did payroll. Imagine doing payroll with cash, people.
Ooh.
This is a whole different ball game. And so we'd count cash every payroll cycle. We'd pay the taxes through a leasing company to get them, because you had to pay EFTPS for the payroll, the size of payrolls we had. And then we'd sit down in the bank vault and count cash for hours, stick them in envelopes, and hand deliver to each employee. And then the smell of the cash, I don't care if I worked in the office or I was physically on their site, but even just staying in an offsite office, the smell of pot on the cash and it just gets on everything. It gets in your hair, it gets on your clothes, you can
It gets
taste
you high,
it.
doesn't it?
I didn't have that problem because I
mean,
don't
like
use.
if you're
Yeah.
sensitive.
Yeah,
know.
if you're sensitive, absolutely. But I don't use the product. And I told, the guy that I worked with, I said, I will never use your product. So don't ever plan on that route, because they would trade, employment for pot. I didn't agree with that. I didn't condone that. But, owners will do what owners do.
They will.
And you just try to give them, what's going to come down the pike if you're caught, and be prepared. But yeah, that's that industry. And then you're going to go through an audit. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, and they happen. and you have to have everything regulated and in order. And I actually use QuickBooks for my cannabis clients.
Interesting.
Yeah, whole different
So,
ballgame.
so do you charge triple? Oh, just wondering.
More than that, actually. It was more than triple.
Oh,
It's
good.
a lot. It's a lot of, it takes a lot more work.
Yeah.
And you're dealing with a product. And now the big thing here is hemp grow. So I've got tons of, actually out where I live, I've got tons of people putting in hemp grows, which is a legal product. Yeah.
Or snakes.
Still regulated, but yeah, more snakes.
Oh, more snakes. Oh my God.
You know what? You just need to, even though you don't use the product, just plant some around, and then your rattlesnakes will be so high that they'll be like, they'll be no
Now,
problem.
there's an idea.
They'll be
Oh, yeah.
sleeping. You
That
just
might
let them
solve
out.
my problem.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, Colorado's got a lot of different industries, and that's the biggest one right now.
Yeah.
Biggest
yeah,
one.
it's so new in Canada, right, Tanya? I don't know if anybody's ever approached you, but I just don't know.
Yeah, I haven't. I did briefly think about it because in our little old city of Belleville with 50,000 people, we actually have two production plants opening up in town. One in the old Sears warehouse, and then one, I can't remember exactly where it's going. And I did think about it, but you know what? I cannot stand the smell of it. It makes me nauseous.
Yes.
One of my brother-in-laws used to partake all the time, and he would come over for a visit, and my house would stink just because it was in his clothes, on his, like, it would stink for to me. I could still smell it like a week or something so later. It was really, really bad. So, you know, and then there's a lot to learn. And again, I really like my dealing with my service clients. You know, it's just, so I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'll let somebody else get into that. I know
Well,
there's
and-
probably more money to be made, but
Well, then that's the thing. Just in sales tax alone, Colorado's brought in $1 billion. That's with a B.
wow.
Just since it started. It's
Wow.
only legally been a law and acceptable for a little over a year.
Wow.
That's a $1 billion right there. And
Crazy.
everybody's hiring for cannabis help here.
Wow.
Something to think about.
For sure. All right. Well, we've gone over. And I know they're waiting behind me to make some more noise. So the furniture up. So we're going to have to call it a day, but we had a great conversation. Thank you everybody for joining us today, and we will see you all next Friday.
Okay, have a great
Have a
weekend.
nice weekend. Bye. Have a good weekend.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.